It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
That should be better. There should be sound now. I hope. Maybe. Maybe not. Jason should be live now. He's hanging out in front of the big boy, so I'm kind of you know, it didn't work, and I guess hopefully people went over and hung out with Jason for a little bit. I'm gonna post up Jason's link again. I'm just assuming that I'm assuming the big boy's still there, although it seems like if it seems like if I have it open, maybe that's what crashed the computer. I don't know. This computer is definitely struggling with all this streaming stuff, so it's been interesting. There is a poll going on. If people look, up at the top, if you haven't filled out the poll, check that out. If somebody in the chat is watching Jason, if you guys could just let me know when he is done streaming, because I'm just going to keep basically posting the link in my stream, sending people over there so people can see what he's doing. While we're doing that, let's run the start of show and let's see if that works. And it looks like no, because I don't have. Hold on. We're gonna get there eventually. Let's see. Let's try this again. Let's see if we can get the show to start. So hopefully this is working a little better now. Maybe the video will start playing on the side and people can start seeing that. The idea of today was to kind of, since sort of setting up the studio, I really haven't had had a plan. And as Daniel says, he has no idea what a plan is. But the goal today was just to start sort of creating a list of all of kind of the open items that I need to get done, and I thought that the poll topic would be sort of appropriate, all things considered. But yeah, let's. I'm gonna try. We'll see if this works again. I'm going to try loading Jason's stream just so that I can see what he's up to. Just so that I can keep sending people over there while he's still streaming. Because it's kind of funny. Jason was talking about how this is like a very crowded stop for, for the Union Pacific stop at Bald Knob. Which I think is funny because I'm looking at the video and this is about like half the people that are on a subway station when I get on the train. But Jason is out there braving the heat. It's nice and hot. The big boy did kind of like go down a little bit past him, but if you scroll back, you can actually see it go through, which was kind of cool. Let's see, document recovery. We don't need that. Maybe we don't need that. Close. There we go. Okay, I'm trying to, so I'm a planner. That's kind of what it is. I like making plans, for things. Oh, Roy says he walked to the front. I've got it on in the, I got it on in the background, and I don't see, I'm sure this is going to get me, banned from YouTube or something, but I've got Jason's stream going on in the background. I'm watching his stream while I'm doing my stream, yeah, because that's just the way it is. But I've got him on mute though, because mute is life, right?
Yeah, mute is life.
Exactly. How you doing, Mr. Childers? How's life in the fast lane?
Hey, it's all good down here in sunny Florida.
That's good to hear. It is hot and humid here, which which is uncomfortable. Is it uncomfortable in Florida, or is it a
It's
nice
all
Florida summer day?
it's all relative. It right now outside it's 86 degrees with 68% humidity.
I think that's probably pretty close to what it is here, actually.
And for a
Let's,
summer day, that's actually cool.
yeah, right? Yeah. And I can't find, oh, here it is, dark sky. 89% here and humid. Let's see, does it say? I don't know. I don't know how to find out how humid it is. 89% humid, humidity 63%, feels like 98 degrees. So yeah, I'd say we've got it worse up here than you do down there. But
Yep.
so I think I know the answer, Steve, because you used to be a safety guy,
Okay.
and I know safety guys are all about processes and documentation and all that kind of stuff. So are you a planner, or do you just kind of like shoot from the hip?
No, I plan,
Yeah,
but I adjust the plan as I go.
absolutely, 100%. And that's one thing I think. That's one thing that I think people miss or don't understand about plans is that they're meant to be adjusted. But if you don't have a starting point, you have nothing to adjust from.
Right. And at least your plan gives you it's a roadmap. Is
Right.
basically what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like if I don't put together some sort of plan, I just don't know where to start is part of my problem. So like I get stuck not starting, and then I don't even adjust the plan because I haven't even sort of taken it on. So far we got 44 votes. 5% say yes, they plan on everything. Almost 60% says I make plans but adjust them. 7% says I make a plan but do not follow it, and 30% of people say what's a plan. So it does seem like there's most people, 65%, 2/3 say that they do make plans. But I don't know. Edward, do you make a plan?
Hey, Edward.
Yes, I make plans and I try to do my best to follow them, but it's one of those things of there's times that you make a plan and all that, and then you find out that oh, wait a minute, this part doesn't fit this way or something like that, especially with craftsman kits.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess like for me, what I'm talking about for like my plan, or at least what I've got this little spreadsheet that I'm sort of starting, and sort of my idea is that it's gonna be sort of big picture stuff mostly, um, with then maybe some categories. If you've ever taken a project management class, they do something called a WBS, which is a work breakdown structure, or is it work breakdown schedule? Now I can't even remember. You
Schedule.
see how much I paid attention in class. Um, but basically, you take and you make these like big categories of a plan, and then you make plans within the plans, and then you make plans within those plans until you get down to the smallest the smallest piece of it. And that's a little bit what I do with some things, and others it's just big picture stuff. But yeah, I do have I try and do a little bit of a plan in the sense like turn on my trolley track, right? It's like make sure all my cameras are working. um I try and kind of like have a general plan for like setting up a stream. but I'm kind of at the point now where I don't even follow that anymore. So I'm trying to get back to a plan, but we'll see. Uh, yeah, this is a good point too. At K&R Custom Models, I sketch for others to see. That's very important as well. Is if you're trying to plan something with somebody else, it's generally a good idea to actually have a plan and to actually share it with people, which is definitely a big reason to plan. But Edward, I hear you've got a new job, and I'm curious how that's going for you.
The new job is not. I applied for a full-time position. However, I've been doing about 16 hours a week, which is
Hmm.
not full-time. But my assumption is that might be just the training, the training time of figure out what to do and all that fun stuff. Uh, I would have to say, doing only 16 hours. I think there is they do for every 3 weeks, and it seems that the third week I'm going to be up to 20 hours a week. Uh, I would have to say it's a good thing it's within walking distance, so I don't have to use the car to fill up for gas.
Yeah,
So
right. Well, do you? I don't know if you want to share or not, but like what kind of work it is that you're
it's
doing?
it's a convenience store. Um, so it's one of those things of I can get a discount on not much, but discount on products that they have and etc.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it family owned or corporate, or a
yes, I'm
mix
both.
of both?
I would say, well, it's one of those things of I want to say it's a mix of both,
Yeah.
because it's family owned, but they let's see, my store number is 193. So it's sort
So
of
so there are a couple of other stores out there.
just a couple. Yeah,
Just a couple.
yeah. There's apparently there's four in Vermont, and the rest are all in New York State.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. And you're in Vermont though, right?
Yes,
You're yeah. Yeah. Rick Bailey's asking, "Hi Heath, no work today?" Yeah, so I had a week of work, basically Monday through Sunday, and this week I don't have any outside paid work, but I do have a call at 3:30 today about a possible contract job. So I'm hoping that comes through, which part of that conversation is going to be about how many hours a week it is. It looks like then in September there's a couple weeks where there'll be a bunch of work as well. So it's kind of right now, things are starting to trickle in, but it's an interesting job market out there. That's for sure. Split Rock 323 says, I like to create storyboards for making videos. It helps with the flow. Interesting you say that. I have a bunch of footage from last week that I took, which if you caught the trailer for this video, the trailer was a HO circus train that I went and saw at the local club. And it's I basically just shot a bunch of footage. So like I don't know what the exact story is yet. So I'm having a hard time getting I'm having a hard time getting into the editing of it because I don't know the story that I'm trying to tell. So that's kind of like an interesting sort of part of it. Like some of it is just watching the trains, and then some of it is interviewing the person that built the trains. So it's like I just part of why I'm doing today with kind of the plan is that I need to uh I need to kind of like create the plan to like just sit down and do it. And I think that maybe if I, maybe if I make the plan, that I'll actually kind of do it. So some people are saying that the big boy's starting up. It's getting ready to move forward. So I just posted the link again if people want to pop over to Jason's channel. Oh, now Roy's saying false alarm. Wow. Rick says, I like that picture of the production soundboard. That is actually a production switcher. It's a video switcher made by Sony. And that is the production switcher that is at the studio that used to have The Daily Show. So that's the studio I was in, was that studio. So I just sort of, it's kind of a nondescript, picture. I don't think I'm violating any NDAs by saying that it's, the Daily Show switcher, because you could, you can see it in shots of the control room or anything. So it moved a few feet and stopped. Yes, it did. Damien, yeah, so I've got a whole bunch of B-roll. And so what my plan is for this circus video, and I guess this would be a good place to actually like start typing in the plan. So oh, I got to do it down here. So the plan is that I want to edit the interview. Let's do it this way. Edit HO scale circus. Right. Video. And then I think the order that I'm going to do it in is that I will edit the interview. So that like I know what I get a little sense more of the storyline, and then I'll edit the B-roll, meaning just like finding the good pieces of footage, and then I'll I'll lay the B-roll on top of the interview footage. Part of I guess what's holding me back a little bit too. Ethan, we're not skipping your comments particularly. We're just talking. That's all. Keith, I need to talk to Tina Marie for advice. Lynn, are you talking about advice for how to go about editing the interview? Like that's probably a pretty straightforward sort of basic editing plan. Part of what's holding me back from this plan, sorry, I'm trying to make it a little bigger. Part of me what's holding back from this plan a little bit is that I'm not 100% sure, but I think I don't have some of the footage. I think either for whatever reason some of the footage got lost, or I don't really know what happened. But like when I went through the footage, or like I'm trying to get the footage off my phone, it just seems like some of it is some of it's just not there, and I don't know where it went or what happened. I also didn't have any microphones, so like I'm worried that the audio on the footage is going to be terrible. So I'm just like I'm making up all these stories in my head, and since I don't have any sort of plan, I'm like just not doing anything is what seems to be happening.
Well, it looks like you're making the plans now, live.
Yeah, and that's that's a little bit the point of why I thought this might be interesting to kind of work through this, is to sort of to figure some of that out as we go. I'm also one of those people where I'm not sure like whether I want to be doing this on like in Excel, or whether I should be using like an actual to-do list program. So yeah, Lynn says I'm having issues getting videos off my iPhone to YouTube. I know Tim was having that same problem recently as well. Tim CP368 was having problems getting videos off his iPhone as well. I'm kind of lucky, even though this is an older computer. I am doing most of this on an older computer, so that's that's kind of I guess a good thing for me. Um,
Yeah, I've been finding out that, sometimes when you buy something new, it's not compatible with the older stuff, even though it's
yeah,
broken.
and it's not even so much new versus old. Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. Um, it's not new versus old that I'm necessarily having a problem with. What I'm more having a problem with is just like if I try to have too many things going at once, it
Mhm.
everything locks up, and that's kind of frustrating because when it locks up, you either lose work that you've done, or you have to start over, or stuff like that. So funny you should say that, Roy. I have Trello on the computer. I have a this even it? No, this isn't it. Let's switch accounts. Let's see if it'll let me switch accounts. Add another account. Continue. Here we are. Password. So I made this Trello board a while ago. Oh, trying to trying to make it smaller. There we go. So I did make this Trello board. Let's stop sharing that and let's share this. I don't I don't think there's anything. I'm looking real quick. Do I have anything in here I shouldn't show? So I've got this Trello board that I started a while ago, and I've got all this stuff in it. Like, I've got all these, Human City projects, contests, update YouTube videos, put together camera slider, tell you how old this is. March 13th or 14th, Northlands visit, create rotating camera view in OBS. And then I've got like this list of video ideas. Edit Amherst interview before Amherst show. Sound units from CMR and the Chinese version. Speed match, RAS are these Bachmann things that I have. So it's like, you know, where I get stuck with Trello a little bit, and this is, I guess, why I started doing this spreadsheet, is that I've just got so much information. Let me see if I can, let's see. I do this, make it a little better. I just have so much stuff in Trello that I just get like overwhelmed by it. But what I tried to start doing is, and I'm curious how if people have Trello or not, what they do. But what I started doing was I made a top 5 list. So I would have like video ideas, Human City projects, just other random projects. Um, and I can't scroll because and then completed projects. Um, so like I have all these categories. It's just about kind of moving. You need it broken into separate pages. When you say pages, do you mean different boards? Because I guess so each page can have stages of completion and columns. You put too much into one page, and I guess that's where I'm a little confused. Is pages when are pages a part of boards, or are pages a whole separate thing? See you work in new ways. Timeline, table, calendar, dashboard, and map. Boards. Starred boards, personal boards. Yeah, I don't see pages anywhere. Oh, yeah, he's saying, yeah, boards. Um, but then how do you move between boards, I guess, is the other question. Like, if I say, like, here, like, this one is, let's say, sound units from from CMR and the Chinese versions. How do I how do I have one board that then links to the other boards? I guess it's just I get overwhelmed by my plan when it gets this complicated. And what I end up doing is I go back to to-do lists. And the even bigger irony of all of this is if this was a work project, I would have no problems doing this. But because it's personal stuff, it's like it's just at like a whole nother level or something. Like it just
Yeah, you might want to put in your to-do list on watching YouTube videos on how to use Trello.
yeah, right? Well, there you go. I mean, that's Roy says I made it complicated. Roy, have you watched any of my videos yet? I make everything complicated. That's what I do. Yeah, I need a board to organize the board. I've tried using the other one that I tried using was ClickUp. I don't know if you've heard of ClickUp. ClickUp, but ClickUp has so Trello is called a Kanban board, Kanban board. That's what the format of it is, and ClickUp does Kanban boards and other, like it allows you to look at it in multiple different ways. So that was kind of this was kind of a thought as well. Oh, they have Kanban and Jira as well now. Great. Another option. I use a website called Airtable, but use mostly cells. Huh. Yeah, Roy. So Jira, my experience of Atlassian in general is that it's primarily based around software development. Now, the Atlassian bought Trello, and I think it was a smart purchase, which is probably why Jira now has Kanban boards, is because they're all now Atlassian products. But yeah, like ClickUp. There's just so many options. Like here it says, from simplicity to complex, you can create tasks for anything in ClickUp. Replaces Todoist, Trello, and TickTick. I don't know what. Oh, TickTick is. And here's Things 3, which is the to-do list. Yeah, project management, documents, email. So
yeah, it sounds like you need an. It sounds like you need an app just to figure out which app to use.
I need an assistant. Yeah.
20 years ago, I used Microsoft Office Project, and I found that to be overly complicated for most of the stuff I was working on. So.
Yeah, so Microsoft Project I find is good for creating Gantt charts to coordinate with other people, but I don't find anything else in Microsoft Projects very useful, except for creating the Gantt charts. But yeah, Jira and Confluence are nicely integrated now. Yeah, it used to be, when I was at Barco, they had Jira was their ticketing system, and Confluence was kind of their like wiki, their Wikipedia.
And we've heard that before.
Stuff. So yeah, I know, right? We've heard that the train's gonna move, so when I
see it move, then I'll say so.
Are you watching it in the background too, Steve?
Yeah, it's on my other monitor.
Alright, so people are saying it's for real now. I don't know. So what did Dad Cook say?
I think I saw the whistle blow and all that. Yeah, it's one of those things of working with Nutrex and all that. I had to get 3 monitors and all that, so yep. That's why I'm going like this.
Yeah, and I have it's what Eric's saying too is I have different colored post-it notes, and sometimes I find just taking post-it notes and lining them up on my desk is like the easiest way to do a to-do list. Um, but Ethan, I live in New York City on the Upper West Side.
Back in
That's
the
where
day,
I am.
I had a post-it notes app for my computer, so I could post notes
Right.
on it.
Yep. I used to use Sticky, a program called Stickies,
Yeah.
on my
This
computer
was actually
for a
this was
long
actually
time.
3M Post-it. Was
Oh,
the name of the
really?
app. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Of course, again, 20 plus years ago, back in the 90s. I was probably
Yeah.
using Windows 95 back then, so maybe even 3.1.
Yeah, ironically, I somehow seem to get everything done at some point. But at some point, I just need to kind of like go back to the list and just sort of like do the list again. And then like I kind of like divert from it. And then like a little bit later, I'll go back to it again. Uh,
Yeah, I mean,
but
there's times that you can plan as much as you can, but sometimes you don't have information unless you're doing it live.
right.
I mean, like with new tracks, you know, when I first was starting to do that with YouTube, I did not realize that there was there's a slight delay between when it's running on Zoom, then when it goes
Yep.
onto YouTube, and and I can see the delay is not as drastic as what you're using with StreamYard, but there is still a slight delay.
There is a delay. If you're doing everything in StreamYard, things seem to be lined up, but the reality is there's still delays and stuff. So nothing's perfectly lined up, but
Oh, and Roy, for your benefit, if you look in front of the big boy, there's still two, I presume, crew members in their yellow vests still standing in front of it. So I'm not expecting it to move in the immediate future until those two guys move.
well, in which way is it going? Like all those people are standing really close to the track.
They're down an embankment on the other side, but there's two guys in the yellow vest that are standing on the track in front of the
Oh.
big boy. So
Yeah, I'm not. I don't. I'm not listening to what Jason's saying, so I can't
I'm
really
not
see.
either. I've got that muted.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm just watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
But,
almost looks like it has derails on the track, but I think that's on a separate track though.
oh yeah, I see the derails too. For people that are wondering, we're all watching. We're watching Jason in the background. Or I guess Jason's got 30 people watching, and I only have 22. So it sounds like everyone that's here is probably over there as well. But Roy, I'd be curious to see more how you have this. Thank you, Halo. This shirt was actually a gift from my girlfriend. But yeah, we
And she's been on the show, so she is real.
so she is real.
Yeah,
No.
she's not blow up either.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true. Speaking of organization, we've all seen Lynn's train room organization methods.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Lynn,
Hey, I found the enter button.
There you go. Don't tell me you were sitting there watching in the background again.
No, I was jumping back and forth between Jason and your show, and then I decided I'd step in, and nothing really much to add this morning, but I was thinking you were going to be on tonight and not this morning. I was really surprised when I read AM instead of PM.
there
I'm
goes
always
one
on
guy.
Fridays. This is my Friday time.
Yes, but I thought you were working too, and I understand that
Oh.
work thing. That's what threw me.
Yeah, and for the next couple of weeks, it's probably going to be, a little hit and miss. So yes, my significant other has been on a video. I actually played a video of her sneaking into the studio as well, trying to be all sneaky when she left me some flowers um, early on. But yeah, this is sort of a funny thing too, right? Whenever I do a really huge project, my sort of like immediate items generally always end up in like a small notebook. I actually use this size notebook because it'll actually fit in the back pocket of my jeans, and I like I'll just have like a little. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but
they're moving away from the front of the.
oh, they're moving.
They're
Logo's
walking
not
away
just
from the
the
They're on
track.
the horn anyways.
I don't want to hear that they're moving if they're not moving again.
Oh, the guys are moving.
The people are
two
getting
yellow
off the
vests.
track.
Yeah, the guys that were on the track are moving.
Yeah.
Here it goes. It's moving. The engine is moving.
I hear the bell. I see the smoke. There it goes.
There it is. All right, so if anybody hasn't
This is
checked it out yet, there's the link. We're all watching the big boy in Bald Knob, Arizona on Jason the Train Freaks channel.
Arkansas.
Arkansas. What did I say? Alabama? Oh, Arizona.
Off by about 1,500 miles.
Same thing.
Flyover state, right?
Yeah. It's pretty wild seeing that thing move.
Yeah.
And I hear, so it's not, my understanding is it's not coal anymore. It's oil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got all of the modern, like, transponders and stuff in it as well. It's my understanding, which is...
You have to now to go
Yeah.
on a Class 1 main line.
Which is unfortunately why, it's not likely many other locomotives are going to get running like this again. It's
They can
because
get
of
running, just won't be able to go out
on the main lines. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they had the same issue over in England with I can't think of the name of the locomotive, but it was from a class of record breakers. I forgot which one it is. It's like it's streamlined, and it was I think one of the class, if I remember correctly, still holds the land speed record for steam locomotives at 125 or somewhere around there.
It's only because the American locomotives didn't compete, and I forget which one it was, but there was an American, Burlington had a locomotive that it scheduled speed 109 miles an hour right between Chicago and Minneapolis.
Mike Pringle saying it was a Mallard.
Mallard, that's the one that Edward's thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, and Daniel's saying it's not that hard to modernize them, and I don't think it's the difficulty of it. I think it's the cost. Yeah. But I mean, if you got a couple extra million in your pocket, burning a hole in it, I guess why not? Why not put it towards modernizing old steam locomotives? So.
Is there more than one that's operating now, or just that one?
I believe only the 40 of the big boys. I believe the 4014 is the only one running, but the 4012 I thought was physically restored, but it's not. It's not running.
Is that the one in St. Louis at the Transportation Museum?
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
Because one of them was a static display in Los Angeles at the fairgrounds. I've even climbed in it. They would let you climb all over them. And then a few years back, the UP purchased it back from LA County, and there was a whole production on how they had to get that on the track, pull it out on the main, and all of the background of what they had to do for keeping it stable, making it roll, all the locomotives just to move it to get it up to Cheyenne and then repair it.
Yeah, I would love to see there's a group in Boontown or whatever that's got a couple GG1s, and they've got some other locomotives that they're restoring, and I'd love to see them get several more of those actually running. But Container Man, we were all watching Jason's stream.
Yes.
There were more people over there watching Jason's stream than were here, and we were all watching that. So
Well, it's stopped now, so everyone who's not watching on more than one monitor should be.
yeah,
They come back over here. Exactly.
yeah, it's all good. So the biggest issue is the actual boiler work that's expensive. You only get 15 years before major work and testing has been done. And my understanding is all the boilers they've converted, or they have to convert from coal to oil. I don't know that they can they run the steam trains off of, are there any steam trains, even on any of the excursion trains, that run off of coal, or have they all been converted or not?
I'm not sure, but
I don't know.
do you know why they convert?
I'm assuming like EPA regulations, but I have no idea why.
No, it has to do with embers, hot embers causing fires.
Mm.
Oh, really? So I guess an oil fire wouldn't cause a fire as much as a coal fire would?
Well, you don't have oil on fire coming out of the firebox. You don't have the embers flying out of the chimney.
Mm-hmm. So Tim from 368 says 765 is coal, and many still are coal. But Container Man says he thinks most have been converted. Daniel's saying it's the fire risk. Yeah, it's fire risk. No embers. The Milwaukee Road 261 burns coal. Frisco 1522 and Frisco 1630. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's saying. No cinders coming out.
Cumbres and Toltec, the locomotive we on was a coal-fired one.
Mm.
And they had a little chase, the speeders. They had a speeder towing a tank of water that would follow about a mile behind.
So Thomas says that he disagrees with Steve on oil versus coal. He says they use oil because oil is easier to obtain at many places across the country.
That's true too.
So which came first, the chicken or the egg?
I think it's mutually inclusive.
Now, I'm sort of wondering which locomotives are still wood powered.
Oh, there you go. The Eli Northern still runs coal in all three of theirs. And Daniel seems to be agreeing with Split Rock, I think. And Ethan's saying that both of the ones he mentioned, the Frisco 1522 and the Frisco 1630, are both coal. 440s. What is he talking about? Oh, is that the 765?
Like the General and
Oh, gotcha.
the Golden Spike, those two locomotives. The 440s, the Civil War, shortly thereafter era, were wood burners.
Now here's a coal versus oil question. Oh, that's wood. 440s he's saying are still wood. Gotcha. So coal versus oil. Coal, because it's a solid, is going to have gaps in it, right? So it's going to be per volume. I'm going to guess that coal is lighter than oil. So when they convert a steam locomotive to oil, can they then put more oil in it than they could coal as far as like how many miles they can go? Like you're going from a solid fuel to a liquid fuel, so you can get more liquid in the same space.
I don't know about volume, because that's what you're talking about. Mass is more what
Mass.
you're talking about, not volume. But as somebody else mentioned, the oil is atomized, and it's easier delivery system. Of course, newer coal had augers, but you have injection pumps for the oil. Then it's atomized. It's kind of the difference between a fuel injection and a carburetor.
But like the boiler, the oil, not the is it the boiler? The oil storage tank. Sorry,
That's a tender.
would be the tender. So can you get more oil in a tender than you can get coal in a tender? It's as far as the amount of miles you could go, I guess. Or I guess there's like so many different factors.
Which is more efficient for the mass?
Right.
And I'm going to assume it's oil, but I don't know that to be factual. Just because it's a better, more efficient delivery system to the boiler.
Oh, and I guess like Daniel's saying, if it has to be atomized too, I guess it means that there has to be, like, you don't just stick the oil into the fire, right?
It goes
Like
in
there's
with an injector.
Yeah, so there's got to be a bunch of other equipment in the tender besides just the oil to deliver it to the.
Just pumps. But then on a coal, you got an auger delivering the coal to the
I guess
cab.
that's true.
So
Yeah, and another thing is I think oil also has to be heated also before it could. I know with Stanley steamer locomotives or Stanley steamer cars, when they were using kerosene, they had to start it with gasoline because it had the lower
viscosity.
viscosity and I think flash point also, and then once that heated up the kerosene, then they could use the kerosene. And if I remember correctly, oil is a lot heavier than kerosene, so I would assume that they put it through a
Yeah, I talked to
something.
Michelle. I didn't talk to him. I listened to Michelle Kemmerma.
Yeah, that was a good stream. Just real
Yeah,
quick before you say that, TSG Multimedia had Michelle Kempema on after she saw the 4014, and she showed pictures and videos and talked in detail about a lot of this stuff. Sorry, so go ahead, Steve.
And she's become really good friends with the crew, in particular the engineer on the 4014. So she had all this excellent, background information about the big boy. So, and they do have a heating system for the oil. And if you notice, there's additional tenders. It doesn't just have that black tender behind it, but there's 2 or 3 more tenders. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, they're water, but they go through, and then the 2 that look to be like passenger cars behind it, one of those at least is a water laboratory so that they can make
Yeah.
and water treatment. One's a laboratory, one's a treatment plant, so they can treat the water appropriately that goes into the boiler as well. So it's quite a
Yeah. What Split Rock's saying here too about that they're using number 5 oil, which I believe number 5 oil is the same oil that we get pumped into our building downstairs for our boilers. So isn't number 5 just like kind of it's what people use to heat buildings and stuff. So it's I guess one of the more common ones, but oh yeah, he says often referred to as furnace fuel oil. So if it requires burning at 171 to 219 degrees Fahrenheit, do they heat the oil to 170 and then stick it through the injector so that that only needs to get up to 171 to actually ignite?
I think so.
I believe so. Yeah.
Nothing uses coal around here. Navy ships used to use bunker oil that's basically solid at room temperature. And the bricks of it have to be heated before burning. Oh, I didn't know that.
they're going to use, and I'm not positive about this, but if you ever watch them light off the boilers, all right, they're actually using an open flame, right, to actually light it.
Container Man and Split Rock are going back and forth about coal deliveries. But, yeah, Container Man, Split Rock's not driving a truck. He's driving something a little bigger. Yes, there are preheaters for the oil. Right. Water capacity would be far more critical than oil capacity for that beast.
Yeah, you run out of water, that could cause the boiler to explode.
Huh? Oh, because
Yeah.
you're heating up air then instead of water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Air expands a lot more.
So is there, I guess there must be mechanisms in place so that if it runs out of water, the oil stops burning.
That's
There's
the
all
engineer's
kinds of
job.
there's all kinds of pressure relief safety systems on that beast.
Kind of like how a propane tank has that little thing that if it gets too hot, it starts spurting propane out the side.
Yeah.
Or a hot water tank. Right, it has a little valve on the top.
And there we go. We're talking about thermal shocks to the boiler. The water has to be heated too. So how do you... So to... It seems like it's this weird, like, this weird sort of... What's that called? Where, like, you need something to fire up something... perpetual motion. It's like a perpetual motion machine. You have to heat the oil in the water to be able to ignite the oil and water, to then heat the oil and water, to be able to ignite the oil and water, to then make the train move, to then heat the oil and water, to then be able to ignite it.
That's why it takes over 2 hours to start one.
Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, I've heard that because they have to heat it up. It takes a long time to heat it up.
That's why they don't do tours in the wintertime.
Is that true? They can't run a steam
No,
locomotive in the winter? Or you're just making...
I just threw that out there.
I'm so gullible. I'm like
No, but
Yeah,
that
what
was
I
one of
know.
the drawbacks to the steam-powered cars, the Stanley steamer. It took too long to get them started.
Yeah, it took
Right.
about a half hour. Whereas once they added an electric starter to the gas-powered ones, it made things a lot easier. Although electric cars back then also were even easier because all you did was unplug it and flip the switch. But the issue they had was they didn't have the range at the time.
So I don't know what a crown sheet is, but the crown sheet on the firebox gets too hot and melts, letting water run into the firebox, which then flashes in very large quantity. So
Yeah, the crown sheet is the top of the firebox, sort of like the roof of the
The roof.
firebox.
so
when
Eli Fleming, who I believe wrote the James Bond books, right? Was that Eli Fleming?
Mhm.
That was Ian Fleming.
I was close. Uncle Tony's Garage YouTube channel does a cool walk around of a locomotive at a museum, explains the mechanical systems in an interesting fashion from a mechanic's perspective. Yeah, I am so, like, electricity, I understand, but motors, well, electric motors I understand, but, like, ones that require a spark, I don't understand motors. That's why nuclear-powered Navy ships are great. You basically turn a key and get going.
You don't have the car, so you don't have to understand engines.
Well, Ian. I was close. Ian Fleming, Eli Fleming,
Fleming.
Oh, it's like a melt... So, wait, the top of the firebox is designed to melt away if it overheats on purpose so that the water then lands on it and puts it out? That's kind of cool.
That
That's
only
neat.
works. Yeah, that I think only works with smaller boilers. It's a small lead plug. So when the lead obviously melts a lot at a lot. Boy, can I talk today? It melts at a lower temperature than the steel. So when the crown sheet gets hot and all that, the lead melts and it just turns around and tries to douse the fire.
Kind of like a fusible link on a sprinkler.
Fred Wild says that Ed said, and I think he's talking about Ed, the engineer for the Big Boy, or one of the crew guys, I believe, is named Ed on the Big Boy. When they sit for a day, they fire it in the morning, build pressure, and then shut it down. He said the next morning there is still 150 psi in the boiler. My follow-up question is, what psi do they run the Big Boy at?
I don't know, but I would assume around 200.
So that's pretty close then, 150 to 200. Daniel says Stanley steamer cars didn't use boilers. They dropped water onto a hot plate that flashed to steam. Jay Leno's Garage has a video on his Stanley where he explains it. So a Stanley steamer car is a car? It's an early car?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why the Stanley Steamer Rug Cleaning Company has that a Stanley Steamer automobile ad logo.
Dad Cooks thinks it's around 450 psi. So yeah, that's they keep a Hostler's fire.
Hostler.
What's a Hostler?
I don't know in that context.
I think hostlers were basically they got the locomotives ready. They were. I almost want to say a valet.
In the trucking industry, the hostler is the one that backs trailers up to the dock doors, pulls out the loaded ones, puts them on the line. So yeah, they could be like a valet.
So a hostler, according to the dictionary, is a man employed to look after the horses of people staying at an inn.
Okay.
That would make sense because steam locomotives are iron horses.
Interesting. Yeah. Ed Dickinson is the head. Operating PSI is around 300. And
same thing in the trucking industry.
Yeah, I'm sure it was used. Yeah, here, I mean, it even says, what is a hostler on a truck? A hostler in motor transportation is a type of truck driver who directs trucks or tractors at vehicle parking or docking areas to move, position, or park trucks or trailers. Split Rock says Stanley Steamer does more than clean carpets. Was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang a Stanley Steamer?
No, because that was gas power. That was an internal combustion engine.
How do you know that?
I remember.
How do you remember that?
How do I remember that?
It had exhaust pipes coming out of the engine compartment.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and not only that, steam engines usually don't go chitty chitty bang bang. They just go chop 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 chop.
Ah, that's a good.
And
Wow, there you go. There you go. That's using some intuition there. I like that.
And also a lot of times, the Stanley Steamers also were known for hollowing because of the burners.
So both Tim at CP368 Productions and Split Rock are saying hostlers move the engines around the service areas, or in Tim's case, he says around the yard. So he would tend the fire overnight, make sure it was lubed, ready to go when it was time for service. That was the thing I thought was so interesting about the Big Boy that Michelle was talking about. They have to lube that thing like all the time.
And when every 2 to 3 hours, was it? They'll stop.
But it's not just like, you don't just like lube it. Like, you don't just take like a rag with some lube on it and wipe it. They like take a thing of lube and shoot the whole thing of lube into it. Every 2 hours. That's like a lot of lube.
Yes. Well, the thing is, you also got to think the big boy is, and most steam locomotives of that era, they didn't have. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically you add the. It's not a closed system like an automobile. It doesn't have all the cranks and all that are not in a box collecting everything and then being able to recycle it. So it just goes through once. Uh, I'm not sure if the Timken locomotive was the same way because that had roller bearings on it. So that might have the roller bearings might have been sealed. I don't know.
Yeah, but just the idea that like every 2 to 3 hours, you literally have to, like, it probably, I don't know. Well, I'll read this for Daniel Banks says engineers don't start the steam locos; they show up expecting it ready, and that's the way I expect my locomotives as well. But let's say you have the 4014 pulling. Well, in the case of, I don't know if it would or not, but Thomas was saying he was pulling 22,000 tons of coal the other day. If you had 22,000 tons moving, and you had to take, let's say, a 10-hour trip, and every 2 hours, you had to stop 22,000 tons of weight, and then lube the locomotive, and then start it up again. That's a lot of.
They don't shut the locomotive down. They just.
Well, no,
stop.
but they have to stop it. I mean, that's a lot of inertia to stop and start again, right? I mean,
Not
that's
very efficient.
That's why
Yeah.
there's no. That's the reason there aren't steam locomotives in service is simply because of the maintenance required. The diesel electric requires so much less maintenance than a steam powered.
Yeah, Daniel's saying the big boy has a lot of automatic lubricators, but it doesn't cover everything, which is pretty. Yeah. Yeah, Ron. From planning to steam talk, love it. Well, that's Jason's. That's all Jason's fault because Jason was watching the big boy. But somehow I think talking about things I don't know anything about is probably a lot more interesting than talking about planning, which I do know something about.
Well, you just got to look at it this way: a lot of planning to get that engine rolling.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, it was also steam engines are also very labor intensive because you had to have as we're talking earlier, the hostler just to keep it bringing it up to temperature that takes hours, and they would also.
Split saying something interesting here that I didn't know. That's why steam engines only traveled the length of a subdivision or division. They would swap out the steam engine at a lot of places. So instead of, I guess, lubing it and filling it up with coal and adding all the water and all that stuff, they would just basically swap it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's sort of like the Pony Express. I mean, it's like they would just stop the train, take the one locomotive up, put it on, and they would also do the same thing with the cruise.
Right. Well, and I guess they do the same thing now with crews to some extent. Is the crews will go out of town and stay at a hotel, however many hours they need to not be on the train, and then take the train back. Yeah, you still have to do those things. They'll just turn around and head back the other direction, but that gives you time. I'm assuming, like the load can keep going while they're doing all of the stuff. Yeah. And Roy's trying to tell me that a SHAG driver, SHAG driver, what did he say, would do, moves trailers around distribution warehouses. And apparently my filters aren't letting them say shag.
That must be in England.
Especially the firemen. What did Digger say? Most people couldn't wait to get a diesel loco instead of a steamer. The other thing that I thought was interesting about steamers is like steamers pulling passenger trains, that there were issues of the smoke killing the passengers or something, or
Tunnels.
that it would be hard to breathe if you were in a passenger train behind a steam locomotive.
In tunnels.
Oh,
Alright.
just in tunnels?
Yeah, up in the Pacific Northwest, I forget the name of the tunnel. They used to use transfer the passengers to electric rail cars to go through the tunnel until they invented the technology necessary to exhaust that tunnel.
Andy Estep, who you may see in here sometimes, I forget which station it was. It's either Secaucus train station or Newark train station. He said that if you look up in the train station, that there's actually a cut down the center of the of the tracks up above, and it was apparently because whatever station it's at, it was before they switched to the electric trains that would pull the passengers through the tunnel into Penn Station in New York. So they still had the steam locomotives in, so they cut the opening in the station to allow the steam out. In tunnels, the smoke did back up, but most tunnels here have smoke vents. Yeah, I know tunnels are bad for engine crews too. Have a firebox door open and go into a tunnel and really bad things happen. Sparky, I think it was. Was it Sparky? Somebody did a video recently where they went to visit a tunnel. I think it was Sparky in Canada. Visited some tunnel where they had some system to pull the steam out of it so that people didn't die going through the tunnel.
Yeah, that's now, but back late 1800s,
Well,
they didn't have that stuff.
well, but
And
in
a
the
lot of
1800s they had canaries, and we can no longer kill canaries, so we have to come up with other ways of protecting people.
But a lot of the old tunnels had to be totally redone. You couldn't just retrofit to put exhaust vents through those things. And I know the one that I was talking about before up in the Pacific Northwest, doors would open and close at the ends to force, and then they force feed air through it to exhaust it out the other end.
New Haven Rail says Steamtown went to the back shops. The FRA has regular inspections on the steam locomotives. Thomas said steam crews on mountain divisions with tunnels were equipped with gas/air masks. Woo! Yeah, and I heard that's why they came up with the cab forward, is so that the engineers were in front of the steam. They
Right.
didn't help any passengers, but I don't think a cab forward was a freight locomotive, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
those
they did,
are
yeah.
mostly freight locomotives.
Steam
Yeah.
locomotives need to go in 92-day inspections just like the diesels.
Yeah, I heard one story where one of I guess it was a new mallet locomotive where they, the crew went into the tunnel and they were going at a very long. I guess there was a grade going into the tunnel, so it's working really hard, and it wound up killing the crew. And then next thing you know, you have a runaway train because the crew is dead.
That'd be a whole different movie than the CSX 8888 Crazy 8. Was that not unboxing? I want to call it unboxing. Unstoppable.
Right.
Yes.
Unstoppable.
Keep in mind, a diesel going through a tunnel isn't a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. And electric's probably even better than that too.
Electric's better. Yeah, that's like I said. Up again, the Pacific Northwest, the documentary I saw, they would passenger trains would unload the passengers and put them on these electric rail cars, almost like a doodle bug, and send them through.
Yeah, and I think that's what used to happen in this area. Is the steam would pull them right up to either Newark or Secaucus, and then probably like a DD1 which was before the GG1, which was the electric whatever, probably used to pull them through the tunnel or some. I'm making that up, but it makes sense in my head. So
Well, I think if I remember correctly, New York City put in a non-smoking. There was a very bad accident where they couldn't the crew couldn't see the signal because there was so much smoke in the tunnel that they
mm,
made no locomotives could be have uh, had to use technology that didn't have coal burning. But the thing is, at the time, it's like, we don't have the technology quite yet. So I guess they had to do some other things to be able to uh, do it before they I guess started using electricity, but it wasn't perfected at that time. So it was a little bit hard for them to do stuff. But then eventually it got to a point where uh, it was a lot more reliable.
Mike's saying many ventilation vents and tunnels in the UK were the original shafts drilled down at intervals where they excavated sideways to join up the shafts to make the tunnels. Thomas says, Thomas Splitrock 323, diesels going through the tunnel is better for crew, not better for following diesels. That's why the tunnel motor was created, where the air intakes were moved from the roof or moved to the roof.
No, from the roof. They lowered them down.
Oh, lowered them down.
Was.
New Haven Rail says diesels have to be off at 125th Street. I think you're talking about coming into Grand Central, I'm assuming. After the crash in New York City, the New York Central developed the third rail. So everything coming into Grand Central is then, I guess, electric. Is that true? Metro North?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess all the Metro North is electric.
Well, they're either electric or I think they call them now dual mode. So it's basically once they get into third rail territory, they would shut off the diesel engine and connect to the third rail, then shut off the diesel engine.
All right, here's a quiz for today. What diesel is allowed in Grand Central?
Ooh.
So now my initial guess would have been that this would have been like an evacuation thing, like that they would allow a diesel in to evacuate like a president while he's in town or something like that. But
no, EMD built a dual mode F unit that had it was very interesting because it actually had two different trucks on it. It had a 2-axle truck in the front and a 3-axle truck in the back.
so New Haven is saying that it's a P32 ACDM, which would be a AC dual motor, I believe. Was developed for both Amtrak and Metro North. They can operate, blah, blah, blah. Now I lost it. I'm assuming what it was about to say is they could operate both, let's say, P32 ACDM. Here it is. Was developed by the Amtrak and Metro North. They can operate on power generated either by the onboard diesel prime mover or power collected from a third rail electrification system at 750 volts direct current. It's rated at 3,200 horsepower.
That'd ruin your day, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Daily service in Grand Central. There you go.
I'm going to have to bow out. I got a message, something I need to take care of. I'll be following. I just need to step away, and there's no point tying up your screen. So I'll be on the side.
Okay, we'll talk to you in a little bit. If people don't know, Splitrock 323 does a podcast. It's called The Crossing Gate. And I have not read that, or I've not listened to the last one, but the last one was about how to improve your locomotives, I believe, or something like that. But they're different topics with different model railroaders getting together and discussing different topics. So yeah, it's called The Crossing Gate. And
When is it?
Thomas, if you wanna, Thomas, you can post a link to it if you want in the chat. If you want to find it and post a link, feel free to do that. New Haven Days FL9.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
The FL9 is, I guess, an older duel.
Yeah.
EMD FL9 New Haven class EDER5 is a model of electro diesel locomotive capable of operating either as a traditional diesel locomotive or as an electric locomotive powered from a third rail. There you go. I did not realize that there was a third rail in Grand Central. The subways in New York City all run off of three rails, so I knew that. I just didn't know. FL9 and the P32 ACDM have three rail shoes. The old New York City Electrics had pantographs and third rail shoes. I guess third rail shoes are safer than pantographs. Is that?
I think they're more. I think the third rail, since
More
it's
stable.
rail, is a lot more reliable because it's a little bit hard to break, I guess. Whereas wires
storm.
overhead will, a storm can rip them out.
Oh, yeah. And the tension that they need to keep on the wires, it's probably much easier to just do a third rail. Thank you, Split Rock. Thanks for the plug. No payment necessary for the plug. I do enjoy the podcast, but yeah, feel free to throw that link up there when you get a second. Yeah, everyone's like, "Where?" Okay, let's see if I can get to it before he gets to it.
Now, the interesting thing is that there's two types of third rail, if I remember correctly. You got
Oh, there it is.
you can either ride on top of the rail or underneath the rail.
Say that one more time, Edward.
There's two types of third rail. You can either go above the have the contact shoe above the rail, or the contact shoe could be underneath.
Yeah, in New York City, the subways, I know it's above the rail. I don't know what Grand Central is. Now I feel like I have to go look. Because I have no idea.
Okay, so Thomas, when is your podcast?
Looks like every 2 weeks or so. It's on, it's on any of your podcast things. You can subscribe to it. I posted the Apple link, but there are,
So this isn't a YouTube thing.
No, it is not.
Pre-recorded, okay.
Yeah, it's pre-recorded.
Okay.
Podcast is recorded, comes out every other Friday. Daniel says thanks, I'll give it a listen. You will see Metro North diesels, aka Brookvilles, and the GP35s inside Grand Central Terminal on occasion. Not sure what the rule is regarding those locomotives. So Tigger says, how much for a shout out? Tigger, you don't need to give any money. So it's 1 o'clock. I should probably start wrapping this up. I'm getting some emails that I need to check into. If people want to post what's going on with their channels, anything coming up, any contests, any big milestones coming up, anything going on, feel free to post it up.
Yeah, I would have to say there was diesels, I guess, are allowed in Grand Central Terminal and all that, because there was a short time I worked for Sperry Rail Service, and they were still using a lot of the the doodle bugs, and I wound up traveling Grand Central Station with the spray rail car, which uh, it was it was a vehicle that was sort of like tied to the Northeast Corridor. But the thing is, it was not hooked up. It was not hooked up for running on electric. So it was running on diesel all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Lots of amazing knowledge in this hive mind. No knowledge in my mind, but yeah, it's all good. Yeah, people have to start heading out. I just posted the video of the Power Move Meet challenge from Vinny. Wait, Mike the Rail Artist posted a layout update for his channel. So far, YouTube hasn't booted me off. Mike, I don't think I've seen an update from you in a while. I'll have to go check that out. Digger says, very enjoyable stream. Digger, what did you want to plug? You've got to have a plug. Announcement next Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. Live stream celebration for 2,000 subscribers and 250,000 views. Mini prints, gift certificates as prizes. Split Rock 323 channel. CP368 Real Railroad series has started every Wednesday, no set time, whenever the video finishes uploading each day. A couple other videos coming out as well. Steve says Mike Penn did a video. Ken End, FYI, tomorrow will be final Saturday live stream for new tracks modeling. Edward, what do you got going on?
I'm working during those times.
Is good. Works good.
Yeah.
Steve Childers, anything you've got to share with the group?
Yeah, I put a tip of the day out today on a Freak Katie coupler brake that I've been working on the island. I got the lighting bus work done and the first kit bash done and lit up, ready to go. And I'm running my 280 consolidated in honor of the big boy today.
Nice.
So I've got some switch machines, some smails doing the mail today, so I can start getting my island, all the switches working through the DCC. So
nice. Let's see. Roy says, did my latest video. Your billboard is on one of my flat cars for Ray's challenge. Dance Model Railroading Journey says, nothing video-wise at the moment. Doing my first convention build for TLR 2022. Wow, already planning for 2022 events, conventions. I can't believe we're in Q4 already of 2021.
What's TLR?
Probably the... No, I don't know. Good question. TLR.
I'm assuming T for trains. Oh, Thousand Lakes region. Okay.
Thousand Lake. There you go. I should have known that. Mike says that. Lynn says, I need per my wife to find someone to repair my big boy. New Haven Rails. The third rail in Grand Central Terminal was on the ground next to the rail. If memory serves me correctly, there was some overhead catenary because the original FL9s that arrived had small pantographs on their roof. Yeah, I figured the third rail was on the ground because I have not seen any catenaries in Grand Central. So the Thousand Lakes region is Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Iowa. And Spiller X says, what's ring with your big boy? That sounds like a personal question there, Thomas.
I was going to say something, but I decided to keep quiet.
So Dwight Curley just showed up, which means I need to end this stream as soon as possible. I'm just kidding. Oh, looks like Lynn's big boy was in his blue tote that came flying out of his truck. No, I'm just kidding. But
When I run this train here, Heath, I feel like I ought to be humming Petticoat Junction.
yeah. Why is the steam blowing all over the place on that thing? You got a fan going in there?
Yeah, I've got ceiling fans in here.
Ah, gotcha.
You got
Just
one too many. You got a lot of more cars than you should have for Petticoat Junction.
Yeah, they only had 2 cars, I think. A combine
No,
and a
they
passenger.
no, they had it was a combine, one combine.
And that was it?
That was it.
Huh, okay.
I have got some of the weirdest emails in my inbox right now. I don't know what's going on. Spoiler saying maybe you can kit bash it into a couple of 280s, take his big boy apart. That's too funny. So what? Yeah. So as I'm signing off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play, because I haven't played it yet, my little channel support video of the supporters that support me on Patreon, as well as on whatever that other thing's called, YouTube memberships, as well as just shout out to all my channel sponsors. But have a great day. I'll see everybody again Monday night. There's lots of live streams going on, so check them out, and have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Have a great weekend.
It's all about humanity.